So today we're going to begin part 3 of shading an apple, and today we're going to actually use color and we're going to work with oil pastels. Now oil pastels also can shade and blend, but it's important to practice with them a little bit first. I would give a look at your piece of fruit, so I've been doing this apple, and look for some different colors that you might see. So a few colors I see are obviously a red, I see some brown, I see some orange and yellow, white, and black for my shading. So I picked out those oil pastel colors. I recommend that in your sketchbook you just practice with the oil pastels and see how they blend together. They make mini value scales, so you don't have to be really neat about it. But if I took my red, that's what it looks like on its own. And if I were to mix it with brown, I want to see what the brown looks like on its own. And then I like to see what they look like mixed together. So I always start with the darker of the two, and I put that down first when I'm mixing with oil pastels. So I'm going to put some brown down on there, and then in that middle box I'm going to go over it with the red, and I can see how those two colors mix together, blend, and you can see how it starts to give it a little bit of value. So you could do that with any colors. I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like with the white. So if I put in some red over here, and then I want to use my white oil pastel. Now the oil pastels do get dirty and sometimes they get other colors in them. You can always clean them off on a piece of paper or newspaper, but there's the white. If I put the darker color down first, that would be red. And when you mix red and white oil pastels, you get pink. And that kind of surprises people sometimes. They didn't want pink in their project, but that's what's going to happen. And finally, I'm just going to show you, and you could use any of these colors and test them out before you actually use them on your project. But let me try red and black. Black is a very strong color when you're mixing, so you got to be careful with it. So if I were just to color this dark black right here, it would just be overpowering. So I'm just going to very lightly, see how I went in there light, and I'm going to take the red oil pastel over the top and mix it in, and you can see how strong that black shows up. It really is an overpowering color. So if you're mixing with black, I recommend not using too much of it, and that's why it's good to practice these before you put this on your final. So go ahead in your sketchbook and practice mixing a few colors first, and then we're going to head over and start on our apple. So after I practice mixing the colors with the oil pastels, I'm going to set up my paper the same way I've done in the other two videos. I'm going to look at that photograph or my apple and just kind of pencil in where I see those dark and light tones. But a lot of that's going to get covered up with the oil pastel. I'm going to start by basically finding my first color, which is the red of my apple. And I'm going to go in there, and I'm just going to color some of that apple in kind of light. I'm going to remember where I put those darker tones over here. And so sometimes I like to start with the lighter colors and gradually add some of the dark colors later. But when we're done, we're going to have this all creamy looking. So I know around the outside that I'm going to have a little bit of black, but one of the colors that I really like is the brown. I really liked how my brown mixed in with there. It made like for a neat kind of red shade for my apple. It kind of matches what I was looking at. So I'm going to put some of that brown in there first before I put some of the black in. It'll give me some different shades in there. Then maybe I'm going to take some of my black. I had a lot of black on the outside. Like I said, black is a very strong, powerful color. So color lightly with it. I like to get that outline in there. Some of that black in there. And then I'm going to go just back in and mix with some red again. I want to make sure, get a little bit everywhere in those dark spaces that I was seeing. Now I'm going to go back in. I'm really going for that creamy look. Oil pastels are a lot of fun to blend with. And you can even use your finger, just like you did with the pencil, to blend that in. So let's see how this looks here. I'm going to blend it in with my finger. And it will get all over your finger, so be careful not to make a huge mess. And I can go back in, touch up anywhere I see I need to. And I can also go in and maybe want to put some of those highlights in with some of those yellows and add some of that texture. And when I'm done with that, I can go in and take my white and maybe start putting in where I was seeing some of those light sources. But remember, it's going to make it a little bit pink when you do that. So as you saw in the video, one of the last things I did was color in the background and add that little shadow to the very bottom of my piece of fruit. And I blended everything with my finger. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy doing it. One of the projects I do with my 7th graders is to do a study in both pencil and in oil pastel. So you can see some students' work. These were done by 7th graders. Popular theme is apples, but it doesn't have to be apples. This person did a peach. You could do pretty much any piece of fruit or vegetable you want. So have some fun, happy creating, and send a picture to me when you're done so I can see what you've done.